Right now at 5, Jasper first responders responded to an early morning house fire.
And it is cold across the area. The wintry precipitation coming to an end, but slick spots out there. We'll take a look at road conditions and those cold temperatures coming up.
Plus, Hot Wheels enthusiasts gather together to share their love for the popular collector's item.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Melissa Alexis.
I'm Chris Warner. So we got some wintry weather out there. Now some of our friends off to the west and to the north got it considerably worse than we did, but those temperatures did drop, and it did lead to some slick spots out there. So hopefully your commute was okay.
Pretty icy.
Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's a little difficult to tell, but that's something we got to keep an eye on as we go through today, because we're not going to get a lot of warming going on, which means slick spots are going to be likely at least through today, maybe even into tomorrow as well. Let's take a look. We're going to go around the area. We're going to start in downtown Pittsburgh. You can see Broadway there does still have snow on it. Now the other thing is it's still very windy, which is where the dangerous cold comes in, and we'll get to that here in just a moment. But you can take a look, and again, see, they've got some clearing going on, but there's still some coverage on Broadway out there. MoDOT cameras around the metro area on I-44. So this is at exit 4. This is looking back to the south. Looking all right. This is I-44 at exit 8, right around range line, looking back to the east. And so far, it looks pretty good. And we'll head back over here. This one's a little harder to see. It's over at 249 and I-44. And then this is I-44 at the Main Street exit, also looking pretty clear. It's KDOT camera 69 and East 520th Avenue. It's a little iced over, but you can see at least 69 looks pretty good. Do still have some snow cover on the shoulders. Now the thing we need to keep in mind too is the potential for black ice. We talked about it last week, and it really ended up kind of being a thing. Temperatures did drop very quickly yesterday afternoon, which did lead to some flash freezing. So you've got to watch out for that potential for black ice. Now, I've learned something about this particular map and the way it reads data. It doesn't understand closed. So I want to just get that out there right now. It does not understand closed. And so because it doesn't, it is showing a good portion of north central Kansas and northeastern Kansas as clear. It is the exact opposite. This is all closed, and we've got covered roadways. That's why the state of Kansas sent out that emergency alert. Many of you probably got it early this morning, urging folks in Kansas, if you don't have to drive, don't do it. It's not safe. Many roads are closed. Many of the major highways are closed. In our area, we're a little better. So we've got partially covered to covered across the area. You can see where we've still got the covered in the northern portions of our area, and then we have partially covered mainly into the southern portions of our area. So do slow down, do be careful. My route in here, there were slick spots, but it wasn't awful. But that doesn't mean every road is going to be just like that. On to the Missouri side, you can see most of Missouri listed as covered, which is that pink color. Many roads still listed as covered around the Joplin Metro. You head a little further south, we are looking at partially covered roadways, but a lot of the main highways around here, this is I-49, I-44, still listed as covered. So again, slow down. Watch your speed. And I think really the big emphasis in our area is not so much the snow cover, it's the potential for black ice and those slick spots that you won't see. This is a cold weather advisory. We haven't had an opportunity to really talk about it. It's something new that the National Weather Service came up with, and this is for the entire region, varying expiration times, but they're at least 11 o'clock this morning for those dangerously cold wind chills. So this has replaced the wind chill advisory and wind chill warnings. They're going with cold weather advisories out there. The future track looks good, except for the temperatures. We're looking at partly cloudy skies through most of today. We're going to have those gusty north winds, and that is going to lead to those bitterly cold wind chills out there. By the time we get in the afternoon, we're talking wind chills of 0 to 5 above. We're sitting at 15 in Joplin right now, 12 in Pittsburgh, and temperatures across the region, they look like this. We're hanging out in the teens. We're at 10 in Iola and Yates Center. The rest of us right around the mid-teens, but you factor in that wind, and it doesn't feel as bad in Miami. It feels like 9, 10 in Grove, but a lot of us sitting right around 0 to 5 above, and back into our northwestern counties. Wind chills this morning anywhere from 0 to 10 below. That's where our wind chills will spend most of the day. Again, partly cloudy, not a lot of warming. Highs today, upper teens and low 20s. The dangerous cold continues tonight. It will do so again tomorrow. There are slight improvements in temperatures, but then there's also additional winter weather chances. We're going to go over all of that here in just a few more minutes. Melissa?
Thanks, Chris. Firefighters were called to a house early Saturday morning. Around 1:30 a.m., Jasper first responders, along with Carthage, Lamar, Tri-Cities, and Golden City, were called to the resident's home at 307 North Main. The occupants of the home were able to get out safely. Firefighters wasted no time getting to work to extinguish the flames. The crews were dismissed after 75 minutes. There were no injuries to firefighters, and the Red Cross is assisting the displaced residents. Well, you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps, as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free. The KOAM Plus TV streaming app. If there are any closures due to inclement weather from the weekend, we'll have a list as they're submitted on our website at KOAM and the KOAM News app. You can scan the QR code and bookmark the URL on your phone, or download the free KOAM News app from your phone's app store. Get the latest list at KOAMNewsNow.com. MoDOT and other departments of transportation want to remind drivers that there are priorities set for which roads are cleared first. They understand each road is a priority to drivers, but say there just aren't enough workers or trucks to clear all highways immediately. MoDOT says the most efficient job is the one that will impact the most drivers, which sets the priority. For information on your local city or county streets, residents should contact your local government. Well, the Route 66 Hot Wheels Collectors Club met in Joplin yesterday. The newly formed organization is based in Joplin, saving members the drive to other clubs like Springfield or Tulsa. The club is centered around trading, swapping, and selling of the Hot Wheels toy line. Collectors from the area stopped to the Clubhouse, a vintage toy and game store off of 12th and Main, to see what the meeting had to offer and to learn more about the club.
I wanted something here in the Joplin area. So I started asking people about it, and a lot of people showed a lot of interest. So I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and start one.
The group's founder, Jason Istis, will have a booth of collectibles at the upcoming Veterans Flea Market in Joplin on January 17th and 18th. The Collectors meets the first Saturday of every month. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. The Kansas City Chiefs wraps up their regular season, and we have the details. Plus, rebels in Syria topple a giant statue of Hafez Assad after he was overthrown last month. And we have a cold and partly cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
The Kansas City Chiefs have already clinched the #1 seed in the NFL playoffs, but there's still one more game left to be played, at least one more regular season game. Chiefs are resting multiple starters against Denver Broncos, so Chiefs backups get some playing time in the regular season finale. Chiefs versus Broncos. A win for Denver puts the Broncos in the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes watches the game from the sidelines. We're going to start things in the first quarter. Trick play here as Bo Nix goes to Marvin Mims. He makes a couple of guys miss, and he is on his way to the end zone. A 32-yard catch and run touchdown gives Denver a 7-0 lead. Later in the first quarter, here's Bo Nix again with a play-action pass. Fires to the back of the end zone and connects with Cortland Sutton. Broncos take a 14-0 lead. Kansas City defense struggled all day, and it continued throughout the game. So we're going to go to the second quarter. Bo Nix is going to end up rolling out to his right. This pass is tipped, almost intercepted, but then Devon Ville somehow comes down with it, and that's a Denver touchdown. It's just that kind of day for the Chiefs. Denver goes on to beat Kansas City 38-0. Broncos have clinched their spot in the playoffs.
My hat goes off to Denver great opportunity for them to get into the playoffs. They did a nice job today. Sean's done a good job with that group. The positive for us was that we got to play a lot of young guys, and that experience is invaluable, especially against a good football team. So we need to do better, obviously, but that opportunity again is something that's special.
We didn't play great as a team. I didn't play my best either, but yeah, I mean, you'll move on from this one pretty quick. You know, it was fun to get out there, fun to give myself a lot of guys a chance to just go out there and compete. But obviously, they were the better team today.
The conference season has begun in Division I men's college basketball. Kansas Jayhawks lost their conference opener for the first time since 1991. KU will look to bounce back on the road against Central Florida. Kansas taking on the UCF Knights. Hunter Dickinson works inside to catch the long pass and then the reverse layup. Jayhawks leading by 12. So we continue in the first half. And this is what Bill Self is so good at, drawing up a nice inbounds play. Zeke Mayo lobs it to A.J. Storr for the slam. KU leads by 19. Got less than a minute left in the half, and KU going with a weave play. Hunter Dickinson gets the ball under the basket, and he lays it in, plus the foul. Dickinson led the team with 27 points. Kansas leading by 18. Over to the second half, KU with a huge 31-point lead. Floyd Badunga a big-time block right there. He takes it the other way and flushes it home. KU gets back on track. Jayhawks beat UCF 99-48. In pro basketball, big game between the Thunder and the Celtics. First half, Kristaps Porzingis hammers a big dunk here to put the Celtics up by 11. But OKC gets things turned around in the second half. A nice inside pass here to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He finished the day with 33 points. Celtics lead by 3. We go to the fourth quarter. OKC up by 2. And this ball is up for grabs, and Lou Dort comes away with it. Dort goes and slams it home on the other end. Thunder lead by 4. Later in the fourth, SGA lobs it to Isaiah Hartenstein. And look out below. That fires up the crowd. OKC wins its 15th straight game. Thunder go on to beat the Boston Celtics 105-92. Well, still to come, a new study suggests that volunteering might help you stay younger. And going outside will certainly make you feel older. We'll have another look at your forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:17 now on this Monday morning, and it is a cold one, and it looks cold. I guess that's the one thing. We've gone over that before, too. Like, if it's going to get cold, it should at least do a little bit of this, because otherwise it's kind of pointless. So we did get a little bit of wintry precipitation, not major amounts into our area, but nonetheless, enough to be inconvenient. There's a number of school closings and organization closings, government closings, I'm sure church closings, all of that scrolling at the bottom of your screen, and of course on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. So this is downtown Pittsburgh, our camera there. Broadway, you can see the lines, which is definitely helpful, but you can still see there's some snow out there, and the other concern is black ice. We talked about flash freezing yesterday, and that is exactly what happened as temperatures plummeted, especially in the southern half of our area, so you really need to watch out. Black ice is the most dangerous aspect, really, of winter weather travel because you can't see it. You don't know it's there until you hit it and you're losing control. MoDOT cameras on I-44 around the Joplin side of things look good, but you see these little wet spots. That's what you want to watch out for. You want to still slow down. That's at Range Line looking back to the east. This is I-44 down at exit 4 looking back south. And then as we take a look over to I-44 at the Main Street exit looking back to the east, again, it looks okay, but still, there are those spots out there that you want to be cautious of. MoDOT camera 20th and Range Line in Joplin. 20th Street looks good. Don't get a good shot of the island, but still, nonetheless, probably not as clear as the main roads. And you saw the Goodyear sign here. See that reflection, that shiny spot? That's what you have to watch out for. Now, some of it is actually wet. Crews have been out, but black ice still a big concern. MoDOT camera 32nd and Range Line looking back to the east, and there's still some shiny spots you can see there. Not seeing a lot of snow on the roads, but still you want to watch out. And this is the MoDOT camera in the Osho. It's not working as great as it should, as you can see, but we're getting enough out of it that you could see that there's still some snow cover out there on US 60 as this is heading back to the west. So you got to slow down. KDOT camera, our last stop on our tour at East 520th Avenue on 69 south of Pitt. 69 looks okay, but there's still snow patches on the shoulders, and you need to watch out, again, for black ice. So here's a look at road conditions. In Missouri, most of the state is listing covered. That does include areas of the metro area around Joplin, I-49 up north to Nevada. Partially covered, I-49, 60 heading down to the south. I-44 now from Joplin to Springfield being listed as clear, but still a number of covered roadways out there, so slow down if you have to go out. Don't drive if you don't have to. Cold weather advisory through at least 11 a.m. Now, we talked earlier, this has replaced the wind chill warning and wind chill advisory. Cold weather advisory is a new thing for this season, and it's just an indication that we are looking at dangerously cold temperatures. The future track, really not a lot to show. We're going to have partly cloudy skies. We're going to stay dry. We're going to have those gusty north winds through most of the day. They will ease up tonight, but as we've talked about, when temperatures get this cold, it doesn't take but a light breeze to make it feel considerably colder out there. So tomorrow morning, I'm sure a number of folks will probably be returning to work, returning to school. It's going to still be bitterly cold, especially for kids waiting on that bus. Heading into Tuesday, not a lot of warming taking place. We'll be about that much warmer. We'll see a little more sunshine. That should at least help with some clearing on any roadways out there. We head into Wednesday. We are looking at initially partly cloudy skies that will go mostly clear and still cold across the area. Temperatures right now, these are colors we haven't seen on these maps for a while. We are all into the teens, at least at this point. The coldest spot's Iola and Yates Center at 10. But then you factor in that wind, and it feels a lot colder. Out in our northwestern counties, we are below zero, anywhere from 0 to almost 10 below. On the other side, Fort Scott has the best wind chill at only 12 degrees. Everybody else, though, in that 0 to about 10 degree range. Going through the morning. Again, partly cloudy, cold, temperatures not moving much, still in the teens through 11 o'clock this morning. Our highs today, upper teens, low 20s. We're going to drop back into the teens tonight, tomorrow night, and Wednesday night, and then we'll start to see a little warming. Now, we are watching Friday. At this point, we're looking at scattered flurries, but we've been through this last system together, so I know you somewhat understand what I'm talking about. There's a lot of variance. There's some model data out this far out that says it could be another big winter weather event. But right now, best mode is just some scattered flurries. We'll keep an eye on that for you. A little warmer into the weekend, back in the low 40s by the middle of next week. Let's check your forecast. We will be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, volunteering may not only be helpful to others, but it might help you slow down aging. Researchers found that volunteering has physical, social, and psychological benefits. It can also create a sense of purpose, improve mental health, and help you cope with losses you may encounter as you age. The data determined that retired individuals who volunteered had greater benefits than those participants who worked. Study authors believe this research can potentially offer a way to enhance health and quality of life. The study was published in Social Science and Medicine. And a new advisory issued today by the U.S. Surgeon is calling for updated health warning labels on alcoholic beverages, citing the increased cancer risk. Mandy Gather takes a look at what's behind this push and its reaction from health experts.
It's a new call to warn Americans about the effects of alcohol. U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy issued this advisory Friday, seeking labels on alcoholic beverages, warning of cancer risks.
The reality is that more people die every year of preventable alcohol-related cancers than drunken driving. And I think most people probably don't realize that.
Medical oncologist Dr. Dale Shepard with Cleveland Clinic says he hopes this advisory brings awareness. The Surgeon General's office says less than half of Americans are aware of increased cancer risk from alcohol, and that it's the third leading preventable cause of cancer in the U.S. That risk rises with the amount of alcohol consumed.
I think in general, moderation is key.
The advisory says every year in the U.S., alcohol is responsible for about 100,000 cancer cases and 20,000 cancer deaths. It's linked to at least 7 types of cancer, including breast, colorectal, esophagus, liver, mouth, throat, and voice box.
Lifestyle changes can have a positive impact on cancer risk risk for heart disease, risk for diabetes. We can't underestimate the ability that we have to change our lifestyle and make ourselves healthier.
An updated warning label on alcoholic beverages to reflect cancer risk would require approval from Congress. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
In a statement, the American Cancer Society commended this advisory, saying, quote, "It's imperative that people are made aware of the potential impact of alcohol consumption and are met with recommendations on how to reduce their risk." That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got ourselves dangerously cold temperatures, and we also have slick spots on most of, if not all of, the roadways in our area. Another look at your forecasts when we come back. Right now at 5:30, multiple charities in our area receive thousands of dollars in donations. And while the wintry precipitation has come to an end, it has left behind slick spots across the area. We'll have a look at that forecast for you coming up. Plus, we have some tips on how you can weatherproof your home to help improve your energy efficiency.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Melissa Alexis.
I'm Chris Warner. It is Monday. We forgot to tell you what day of the week it was, and honestly, with everything going on, it's a little hectic. But it is Monday,
Absolutely.
January the 5th.
And it's freezing.
Go. It is below freezing out there. I got gas this morning. I immediately regretted that decision. I should have done it maybe a day or so ago. But
yeah.
Hey, I know what's going on. You know what's going on. You need to also be prepared to scrape your car. I didn't even mention that earlier. There's so much going on with everything that happened. I mean, we didn't get a blizzard or anything like what they saw off to the west or to the north, but we still got enough that it's definitely leading to some headaches and some closings, which those are on the bottom of your screen and on our website as well. So double check, make sure you don't have to go anywhere if you know.
You don't
Absolutely
have to,
don't.
for sure.
Yeah, certainly. Let's take a look outside, though. We're going to start in downtown Pittsburgh and take a quick tour around the area. You can see this is looking at Broadway. This is looking south along Broadway from 4th Street. You can see the lines on the road, and this fellow's doing it right, going slow. The speed limit's already fairly low in downtown Pittsburgh, but it is better to be safe than sorry out there because you can see there's still some covering out there. Road crews are doing what they can, but you can also see, say, like 3rd Street here, there's not any clearing taking place just yet. So if you don't have to go out, I mean, the state of Kansas put out an advisory. Many of you probably got it on your phones either late yesterday evening or early this morning, essentially saying in Kansas, do not travel if you don't have to. Now, in our area, it's not as intense, but a good portion of the state, roads are closed. Major highways are closed. I-44 cameras around the Joplin metro area. So we are looking, this is the Main Street exit looking east. Traffic slowing down, which is wise. This is the Range Line exit on I-44, and you can see roads are clear, but you see some of these little wet spots. That's what you want to watch out for because we have the concerns over black ice. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520th Avenue south of Pittsburgh. This is not in slow motion. This guy is really taking it easy. And that's what you need to do. If you have to be out for some reason, slow down, give yourself time to get where you're going. This section of Kansas, all those roads are closed. If you just joined us, I mentioned earlier, I don't know why, but this map doesn't have an understanding of closed. So it's showing closed roads as clear. So just a heads up, though, if you're traveling outside of our area, they are closed. That includes a major stretch of I-70, parts of I-35. Into our zone, we are partially covered to covered, still covered in the northern half of southeastern Kansas in our area and partially covered off to the south. We go off to the Missouri side. Still, most of Missouri listed as covered, but nothing listed as closed at this point. Coming back to our area, MoDOT around the Joplin Metro still reporting some covered roadways out there. I-44 is listed as clear from here all the way through Springfield. I-49, however, from Joplin north to Nevada, covered. Highway 54, Highway 160, 126, Highway 60. It is in I-49 south. Still listed as either covered or partially covered. So if you don't have to be out today, again, don't. This is a cold weather advisory for the entire area. They run between 10 and 11 o'clock this morning. This replaces wind chill advisories, wind chill warnings. This is simply going out to say it is going to be extremely cold today. Future track, we are looking at partly cloudy skies, so no more winter weather today, but with gusty north winds and temperatures barely moving, that's why that cold weather advisory is in place. It is going to be dangerously cold. 15 in Joplin right now, 12 in Pittsburgh, and across the area, been holding on to the teens, and that's where we're all still sitting, with the lowest at 10 in Yates Center and Iola. So a very cold start. You factor in that wind. We've got wind chills 0 to 5 for a good portion of us, and you head out into our northwestern counties, and it's anywhere from 0 to almost 10 below 0 with those wind chills. Partly cloudy skies, highs today upper teens and low 20s, and those north winds gusting upwards of 25 will make it feel much colder than this all day. We'll have another full look at your forecast, talk about the cold weather, how long it lasts, and what we're expecting into the weekend here in just a few more minutes. Melissa?
Thanks, Chris. Weatherizing your home in winter conditions can help improve your energy efficiency. Taking appropriate measures to ensure your home is ready for extreme temperatures can be the difference between a cozy winter or a stressful one. We spoke with experts to learn what you can do to make sure you're prepared.
A home that's been weatherized, it can save 35% on fuel usage over the course of a year. And some of these are really simple things, like going down to the basement, check your furnace filter. Has it been changed all winter? If not, do it now, because if you don't, your furnace is going to be working a lot harder to keep up with that air. Working harder means it's going to not be as energy efficient.
The other tips from Rose were to make sure your natural gas meter is clear from ice and debris, and assuring that your utility ventilation systems are free from blockages as well. Some Forest States charities gathered at Suzanne's Natural Foods in Joplin to be presented with checks of over $5,000 Saturday to feed the hungry. The 4 charities participated in the Empty Bowl, a fundraiser in which residents can buy clay bowls made by 35 regional artists. The money raised goes to charities that help feed the hungry.
Empty bowls is reminiscent of the 1930s soup kitchens, and kind of the play on that is somewhere out there someone has an empty bowl with no food in it. So Empty Bowls was created from an art department, a couple of teachers, and they had their students create pottery bowls, and it's just kind of grown across the nation.
The charities that received the funds include Watered Garden, Hope Kitchen, Mission Joplin, and We Care of the 4 states. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. South Korean officials are seeking an arrest warrant extension for impeached President Yoon Suk Yeol. Plus, President Biden blocks a multi-billion-dollar U.S. steel deal with a Japanese corporation. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch, dramatic video shows a giant statue of the former ruler of Syria, Hafez Assad, toppled over and broken. The monument had stood on a hill northeast of Damascus, the Syrian capital. Assad was the father of Bashar Assad, the dictator who ruled over Syria until he was overthrown last month. After 50 years of rule, the Assad government fell in December after a sudden rebel offensive. Since then, protesters have torn down statues of the Assads and devastated posters of them. South Korean official plans to obtain an extension on an arrest warrant for the country's impeached president. Police failed to serve a warrant to President Yoon Suk Yeol after an hours-long standoff with his security and supporters on Friday. Yoon was impeached and is under investigation of his brief declaration of martial law last month. The current arrest warrant expired at midnight today, but the Corruption Investigation Office says it will request an extension on the warrant. Yoon's lawyers say officials don't have the authority to investigate an insurrection accusation against him. President Biden is leaving White House officials to defend his decision to block the sale of U.S. steel to a Japanese company. Both companies are slamming the move, which comes just weeks before the president leaves office. Lucas Tomlinson has the latest from the White House.
This is not about Japan. It's not.
President Biden blocked the $15 billion acquisition of U.S. steel by a Japanese corporation. Biden did not speak about his decision. The White House issued a statement. This acquisition would place one of America's largest steel producers under foreign control and create risk for our national security and our critical supply chains. Japan is considered one of the U.S.'s strongest allies. More than 50,000 American troops are based there, along with dozens of warships since World War II. Japan's Nippon Steel had offered the U.S. government the ability to veto any restrictions to the company's steel production. The United Steelworkers Union supports Biden's decision, but many of its members, the workers, wanted the deal to go through to protect their jobs, according to the Washington Post. In a joint statement, Nippon and U.S. Steel are calling Biden's decision politically motivated, saying blocking this transaction means denying billions of committed investment to extend the life of U.S. Steel's aging facilities and putting thousands of good-paying, family-sustaining union jobs at risk. The White House rejected the statement.
That's a hypothetical. I'm not going to get into hypotheticals.
A top economic advisor to President Obama accused Biden of being short-sighted. President Biden claiming Japan's investment in an American steel company is a threat to national security is a pathetic and craven cave to special interests that will make America less prosperous and safe. It's not often that President Biden and President-elect Trump agree. This time they do. They both want U.S. Steel to stay in American hands.
That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:44 now on this bitterly cold Monday morning. Starting with a live look from downtown Pittsburgh. Again, looking at Broadway. Again, you can see the lines, but there's still some snow out there, and you've also got to watch out for the potential for black ice. Now, I'm not saying specifically that is. I haven't been on Broadway, but that is something you've got to watch out for. If it looks like a wet spot, there's that potential. It's black ice, and in some cases, especially in the rural areas, you're not going to see it until you're on top of it. So you've got to slow down out there this morning. Even though we didn't get a ton of snow or anything like that, it still led to slick spots, especially in the communities down south where we got rain yesterday morning. Temperatures plummeted, and that led to some flash freezing taking place, so a lot to keep an eye on. So this is I-44 camera. It's actually looking south along 43 from I-44. I still see some snow out there. I-44 at Range Line, the exit 8, looking back to the east. Looks okay, but again, you've just got to watch out for those potential slick spots out there. And the MoDOT camera at the Main Street exit, looking back to the east. A little hard to tell, it's a little out of focus, but still, there's still some snow on the roadways out there and definitely some slick spots. Same here. Now, see, the Goodyear sign is illuminating, is reflecting off the shiny surface on the road. Now, in some cases, it is truly wet because plow crews have been through, salt crews have been through, they've been taking care of it. But with these temperatures, there's always that chance that it could freeze. This could also be black ice, so you've got to watch out because, like I said, you may not realize it's there until you hit it. So slow down this morning. If you don't have to go anywhere this morning, don't. And school closings and other closings now scrolling across the bottom of your screen. And as I mentioned, a number of them are closed. Carl Junction just posted about 15 minutes ago. They've closed for the day. So you really don't have a lot of reasons to be out this morning. MoDOT camera 32nd in Range Line. Still see some shiny spots out there. A KDOT camera at 69 East 520th Avenue, just south of Pittsburgh. We got some snowy stuff on the shoulders, but on the roadway itself, still could be slick. Going on to travel conditions, this area is actually closed. That's including good portions of I-35 and I-70, a number of major highways. As I mentioned before, for some reason, this map for the KDOT side, it cannot differentiate between closed and clear. It doesn't have a color for closed, so it's showing this is clear. It is absolutely not. It is closed. Now, once we get into our area, some of these are actually clear. We've got some covered roadways still, especially in the northern portions of southeast Kansas, partially covered roadways for most of the highways as you head into the southern part of southeast Kansas. So, and the state of Kansas, because of what is off to our north and west, with all these closures, they've actually put out an alert. You probably got it on your phones saying if you don't have to drive in Kansas today, don't. On the Missouri side, nothing listed as closed here, but most of the states still reporting covered roadways, and that includes good portions of our area. Now, I-44 is listed as clear from Joplin through Springfield. I-49 from Joplin to Nevada is still covered. We've got partly covered roadways down south, and as you head up north, we still have a number of covered roadways out there. So again, I can't say enough. You don't have to be out, just don't. This is a cold weather advisory. It's something new the National Weather Service put out for this year, for this winter season. It replaces wind chill advisories and wind chill warnings. So the cold weather advisory means that it's going to be dangerously cold across the region, and it is in effect for the entire area. It's varying expiration times, but the latest run through 11 o'clock this morning. The future track, there's really not a lot to show. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it right now because there's really nothing to show. There's no precipitation. We're just looking at gusty winds and partly cloudy skies today, so our wind chills are still going to be close to zero through most of today. Now, overnight, the winds will ease up, and our wind chills will still be bitterly cold, but most of them should at least be on the positive side side of the thermometer instead of the negative side. Temperatures out there this morning, we're all still in the teens, and that's good, but Iola, Yates Center, you're getting close to single digits out there, both sitting at 10. But once you factor in the wind, Fort Scott, the best wind chill, only feels like 12. Everybody else is in that 0 to 5 degree above range. And then you get into our northwestern counties again, where that colder air is really settled in. And we're upwards of almost 10 below zero with those feels like temperatures. We're going to be partly cloudy to start our day. Temperatures do not move much today. We're going to just hang out in the teens as we go through the morning. We're looking at highs today into the upper teens and low 20s, breezy north winds gusting to 25. Cold, very cold, very cold, very cold. Slightly better. We are keeping an eye on Friday. Right now, the best data suggests just some light snow, some light flurries, but there's some data, we're still far out, that suggests it could be more. If any of that changes, we'll keep a very close eye on it for you. We'll keep you updated on Friday, but otherwise just some light flurries. A little warmer into the weekend and back into the low 40s by the middle of next week. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
A sailboat captain's offer to sell his vessel for just $1 may seem too good to be true, but there's a costly catch below the surface. Jeremy Roth has today's look at. Take a look at this.
Sailboat stuck? Buy it for $1. That's more or less the deal in Florida from a sailboat captain whose vessel ran aground in New Smyrna Beach. Following an attempted voyage cut short by rough surf, Captain Alan Askar's boat is now marooned and needs to be removed within 30 days. So he posted on Craigslist offering the vessel for just $1 to anyone willing to remove it.
I have to talk to my wife to see if we're in the market for a sailboat.
I have $1. Where is he at?
But before interested parties start counting their pennies, Askar says there is a costly catch to this seemingly too good to be true deal.
It will be operation by land at this point, and it will cost like $20,000 altogether.
Getting a sailboat for $1 may be priceless, but getting it removed from the soggy sand is pretty pricey. Now from the seashore to the slopes of Vermont, where an 85-year-old sportsman is still shushing in the snow, a tradition he says he's kept up nearly every weekend of every ski season since the early 1970s. Dick Soderquist and his wife of 45 years made the trek a regular adventure up until she passed away 2 years ago.
My wife would book 32 reservations for the 32 weekends, which is about what it is for the ski season. You love somebody, you do it together.
Soderquist says he plans to keep their adventurous tradition going for as long as his body will let him. Finally, this snowy hill in Rochester, New York may not be ski-worthy, but it certainly is meme-worthy. Eyewitnesses suggest this cloud pile packed with shopping carts was either the result of a lazy contractor, indifferent mall management, or maybe a bit of both. Either way, it's now grimy, gaudy shopping cart art. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
We'll be right back. Sports Illustrated has named Simone Biles as its Sports Person of the Year. In 2024, Biles retook the crown as the world's greatest active gymnast. She became the most decorated gymnast of all time, with a total of 11 Olympic medals and 30 World Championship medals. But Sports Illustrated chose Biles for more than just her medal count. The magazine says she sparked sweeping change by speaking out about mental health issues in sports. Biles will be honored at the Sports Person of the Year award ceremony tomorrow in Las Vegas. A movie theater chain is letting you use whatever you like as a popcorn bucket. Cinemark says literally anything can be a popcorn bucket for National Popcorn Day on January 19th, as long as it can hold up to 400 ounces, which is equivalent to 2 extra large popcorns. Whatever you bring, it will only cost you $5, but no free refills will be allowed. Any customers who can't get creative can also get an extra large popcorn for $5.
There's something about movie theater popcorn that is just absolutely delicious, isn't it? It's probably not good for you by any means, but it tastes great, right? And I know there's some theaters where you can put your own butter on. That is the best thing ever.
Oh yeah.
It's absolutely the best thing ever because, you know, you tell them when you can't do it, you go up and you tell them, like, I want some butter. And I'm like, put a lot of butter on there. And the lot of butter to them isn't that much to you. And I love when you can put it on there yourself because you can really butter it up. Okay, got to watch out. Roadways could be slick in spots. You see that shiny spot on the little turn arrow there? Probably liquid because plow crews have been out. But black ice is a major concern this morning on all roadways, no matter how clear they may look. And that's the problem with black ice I can't emphasize enough. You may not even know it's there until you are sliding or spinning. So slow down this morning. Take your time, and if you don't have to be out, don't go out. No number of schools, businesses, and I don't know what else is all scrolling across the bottom of your screen that is closed today. So a lot of reasons to stay home. These cold temperatures, another great reason to stay home and inside. And of course, the state of Kansas, not so much in our area, but out to the west, they put out that emergency alert on cell phones saying, if you're in Kansas and you don't have to drive, unless it's an emergency, don't go out. We're going to be partly cloudy today. Temperatures don't move much. We have gusty north winds. That's going to be the problem. So it's going to keep our wind chills at or maybe even slightly below zero through most of the day. We're going to have highs upper teens and low 20s. So again, not much movement on those temperatures. Into tonight we go, falling slowly through the teens, eventually back down to about 10, but the wind's a little better, north at 5 to 10, but still very cold wind chills. That continues all the way through at least Thursday morning, and we'll start to warm up a bit, maybe some flurries Friday. We'll be back with more.